Hello, thank you for your interest in this presentation. My name is Iqbal Bakti Utama from Feng Wang's group at UC Berkeley and Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. I would like to share with you the results of our effort in utilizing nanoARPES measurement to visualize the flat electronic band in twisted bilayer graphene near magic angle twist in the momentum space in conjunction with microwave impedance microscopy in visualizing the moire lattice of twisted graphene in the real space. This work is done in close collaboration with the Maestro beamline and Advanced Light Source led by Eli Rotten. 2D materials are a unique material system in part due to their layered crystal structure. They do not have dangling bonds in the out-of-plane direction, and as a result, it is possible to stack multiple different materials together in a way that resembles building Lego blocks. However, this analogy breaks down in that the different layer does not need to have lattice matching, crystalline symmetry matching, nor azimuthal alignment. With this relaxation of requirements, it is possible to create more lattices by combining different layers with slightly different lattice vectors, such as if they are of different materials with different lattice constants, or by introducing a small twist angle. Recently, we have seen in the past 2 years that the creation of moire lattice in 2D materials have been exploited to create flattening in the electronic band and hence achieved a control of the interaction of quasi-particles in the system. Following from the work in the magic angle twisted bilayer graphene, more generally the correlated phenomena such as mode insulating state and superconductivity can also be seen in moire systems of 2D materials where the flat bands are created from bands with effective mass that are relatively heavy to begin with, including in rhombohedral trilayer graphene, twisted bilayer tungsten diselenide, and TMD heterostructure. Specific for the case of twisted bilayer graphene or TBLG in short, it has been predicted in 2013 that for twisted bilayer graphene at a very specific twist angle called magic angle of about 1 degree, the Fermi velocity of the low energy bands near the Dirac point is strongly quenched, creating a flat electronic band. One consequence for such quenching is that at this twist angle, it is possible for the electron-electron Coulombic potential energy to dominate over the electronic kinetic energy. It is therefore expected that the strongly correlated behavior can be realized in twisted bilayer graphene. Indeed, in 2018, Herrero group reported the observation of correlated behavior at half-wave length and also the observation of superconductivity in magic angle twisted bilayer graphene, which has now been reproduced by multiple groups. As I mentioned, one central component to realize such correlation behavior of in twisted bilayer graphene is the presence of the flat electronic band. There have been several measurements that provides an indication that such flat band does indeed exist based on tunneling spectroscopy and from capacitance measurement. Usually, such conclusions are derived from the observation of Van Hove singularity near the charge neutrality point. Nonetheless, despite its significance, the dispersion of the flat electronic band in the twisted bilayer graphene has not been observed directly. Therefore, to address this question, we performed angle-resolved photoemission spectroscopy measurement in order to observe the band structure of the twisted bilayer graphene. One thing to point out, however, there are issues about reproducing the detailed properties about the ground states that emerge, particularly due to the structural issues in the fabricated samples. This includes inhomogeneity in the twist angle as shown here for twisted graphene probe that squid on tip, heterostrain created from fabrication process, or defects that distorts the moire shapes, or even changes in the twist angle in some steps of fabrication or preparation process such as those induced by annealing. Therefore, an ARPES technique that can probe the electronic structure of the moire lattice locally is highly desirable. And in addition to that, this measurement needs to be made in conjunction with another technique that can confirm the magic angle twist of the structure remained intact. With that in mind, we collaborate with Eli and the scientists at the Maestro beamline at Advanced Light Source to perform the so-called nanoARPES experiment that takes advantage of capillary focusing to achieve a spot size of about 1 micrometer. For this experiment, we then have to design a suitable device configuration that allows for high momentum resolution and avoids charging issues during the measurement. The sample needs to be as structurally as flat as possible. The top surface must not be capped nor encapsulated, and there has to be a grounding path to the sample. We satisfy these requirements by fabricating the twisted bilayer graphene sample following the tear and stack method with a thin HBN flake for a precise control of the twist angle. Then we followed with a stamp inversion method to allow the graphene sample to sit on a boron nitride flake without any capping layer. The twisted graphene HBN stacks is then placed on a highly doped silicon substrate, which allows direct conducting path to the ground. Here we show the optical micrograph of the image of the sample, where the monolayer constituents are bordered in blue and red, while the overlapped region that become the twisted bilayer graphene is bordered in purple. Meanwhile, the scanning photoemission map that selectively shows the region of the sample that contains signal from the HBN bands is shown in the left, and those where the signal is selectively collected from the graphene pi bands are shown in the right image. The bright intensity of the graphene signal near the overlap region of the monolayers confirm the assignment of the region shown in the optical micrograph. Here we compare the band dispersion of the sample collected at the monolayer region that is indicated by the blue dot in the scanning photoemission map, and the spectrum collected at the twisted bilayer region indicated by the purple dot. The monolayer region primarily shows a linear Dirac cone surrounded by replicas that emerge from the superlattice potential with the underlying HBN flake. On the other hand, the twisted bilayer graphene region clearly shows a feature that emerged at the Fermi level that we attributed to the flat band, in accordance to the theoretical prediction. To quantify the twist angle at the region where we observe the flat band, we use scanning microwave impedance microscopy, or MIM in short, as a method to probe the moire lattice structures in 2D system. MIM is a near-field measurement technique where we send a 2.9 GHz wave to the sample via a shielded cantilever and collect the reflected signal also from the tip. These measurements require no electrode on the sample and can be done at ambient conditions. Usually, the interaction between the sample and the tip can be considered with a lumped circuit elements. The signal measured by MIM is proportional to the complex admittance between the sample and the tip, and we can simulate how a signal changes as a function of the sample sheet conductance. Our simulation result, as shown here, shows that the imaginary part of the signal changes monotonically with the conductance, and therefore the imaginary image of MIM is instructive in visualizing the local conductance in the sample. MIM is a powerful technique in that it enables imaging of the moire lattices with resolution down to sub 5 nanometer. MIM took advantage of the variation of the local conductance that varies with the local stacking type in moire lattice. With such exquisite sensitivity, we were able to image moire lattices in various twisted graphene systems, image moire defects, and observe the reconstruction in near 0-degree twisted graphene and their inhomogeneity. For further details on this technique and the application to image moire lattices and superstructures in graphene, I recommend you to attend the talk from my colleague Kyung-Hoon Lee that is also available in this symposium session. Now, returning to our twisted bilayer graphene sample, we applied the MIM technique to visualize the moire lattice in real space at the region where we observed the flat band. The image on the left and the middle shows clearly the triangular lattice from the moire at different skein sizes. From the fast Fourier transform of the middle image, we can determine that the region has a twist angle of approximately 1 degree, which is close to the magic angle. We emphasize that this MIM measurement was performed after the ARPES data collection was completed without any further sample preparation or annealing procedure. Additionally, the MIM was done in ambient condition. Therefore, we can ensure that the twist angle measured here is representative to the actual condition during the nanoARPES measurement. In this slide, we show again the band structure of the twisted bilayer graphene at different cuts of the momentum space, following the direction shown by the dashed arrow in the respective inset images, which in turn display the mini Brillouin zone of the twisted bilayer graphene. In the left here, we have the dispersion along a cut that passes both the key points of the upper and monolayer graphene constituents. At the top right image, along a cut parallel to the MK gamma points of the Brolin zone of the original monolayer graphene. And below it, we have a cut that is perpendicular to this direction. In each of these visualization direction, we can observe that the flat band features emerge near the Fermi level as marked by the purple arrows. We also show that the electronic structure we observe in ARPES measurement can be reproduced by a spectral function simulation performed by our theory collaborators Jill Zhang and Nicolas Leconte, both in the energy versus momentum images shown in this slide, and also reproduce well in the cut of several binding energies from the Fermi surface down to a few hundred milli-electron volt. As a conclusion, we have shown the use of nanoARPES in visualizing the twisted bilayer graphene in the momentum space to show the presence of the flat electronic band that plays an important role in correlated physics of such systems. We have also then used microwave impedance microscopy to image the twisted bilayer graphene in real space to determine the magic angle twist accurately. Finally, I would like to end this talk by thanking my advisor, Fang, my collaborators, particularly Beamline scientists at Maestro, and all the colleagues that have immensely supported the success of this project. Thank you very much for your attention.